dirty lemonade, dirty lemonade. The best dirty lemonade, dirty lemonade. Dirty said it was the best and put it in the name. The best dirty lemonade, dirty lemonade. Strawberry, blue, raspberry, and original.
Hey guys, we're back with my friends at Cannibis, and this time we're in Boston. It's after day one of NECAN, and we're with a pretty cool powerhouse here in Boston. So today we're talking with Mimi, who is the Senior Director of Wholesale and Operations at Netta. And of course, we have the founder and CEO of Best Dirty Lemonade, Omari. We're going to be talking about the state of the industry, the culture behind the business, and what the future really looks like. So let's get into it. So Mimi, thanks for being here with us.
Thank you.
It's been a long day. So
we've been hustling.
It's been pretty crazy. So tell everybody who you are and what you do, and just a little backstory about you.
Yeah, so Mimi, I've been at Netta for 9 years. I do their wholesale strategy, so their procurement in, their sales out, as well as their distribution. So, 5 years ago when the pandemic started, I was doing their delivery program, home delivery, figuring all that out. So now I also help in our Florida and Texas markets. So, grew up in the industry for 9 years, and when you've been in it that long, you learn every trick of the trade, and you just find new ways to make partnerships like the ones we had with you. So, and hopefully making more of those today at Day One NECAN.
For sure. We'll talk a little bit more about that partnership, but you've been in the industry for 9 years. What were you doing before that?
I was an educator before that. So at the time, Netta just opened in Northampton, which is in my area, Western Mass. And I was like, ooh, a little bit of a haircut to get into the industry, ground floor. Wasn't that much of a pay difference. And I'm like, you know what? Let me try it. And here I am 9 years later. I have not looked back once.
Crazy.
Do I miss it? Do I still love teaching? Absolutely. You find different ways, right? You get into leadership roles.
Yeah.
So you're still able to impart wisdom and teach people what you know and share that knowledge. Right? I always say knowledge is power, sharing knowledge is leadership. So that's one of my big mantras. So that's really what I try to hone in on now and try to connect those dots. Mm-hmm. But it all came from that education background. If I didn't go to college for education, I don't know if I would be as good at this job as I am now. Sales is just knowing people, knowing how to communicate, knowing how to educate in the areas where it's underdeveloped. So, use all those skills. Yeah. Everything's transferable. Everything can grow, but I wouldn't trade it for the world.
I feel like it's an art though, right? I was a teacher for just a little bit, and I don't think I was great. It wasn't my thing, right? But I can absolutely, I didn't know you were a teacher until recently before this. Actually, yesterday, I think Omar told me. And so now that I think about it, I can absolutely see it. And you're one of those people that are called for it. It's an art, and I can see it. It makes sense now. So what was the thing that made you jump from teaching? Because you're very much a teacher.
I would say honestly, then I was young, so it was money. Right? It was ooh, cannabis is new here. Let me see what can happen.
Yeah.
And so I think everything's good, right? I stayed in it. So I would say money was the thing that made me join it. Okay. But I think the people that I've worked for, the people that I've worked with, the mentors that I've been able to find, is what's made me stay. Right? For me, it's I went into education because I love learning, right? I'm too inquisitive. I want to know more about every little thing, right? I can have a discussion about anything all day long. Yeah. So as long as I've been in this industry, I've never stopped learning, right? I was at a dinner the other night, and I'm whoa, I thought I knew a lot about weed, but I got schooled tonight. I learned some more stuff. So it's for me, if we're not learning, we're dying. And 9 years in, and there's still so much to learn. So it helps fill that cup for me. And the fact that I can also make that my career, let's go.
For sure. Why would I say, right? This is your actual career, right? Yeah. This is your career path. So, at what point did you realize that, okay, cannabis is my career path?
Ooh, I think, honestly, an old boss of mine, Eddie, just, I think took a bet on me, right? I didn't have a degree in necessarily what they were looking for at the time. He's well, you got one, so you know our business well enough. I'm all right, screw it. Let's give it a whirl. And so by that, they just gave me a little bit of grace to learn with them, right? Because at that point, it was brand new in Massachusetts, so we were all learning together, regulators and business owners. Mm-hmm. So I think just having that and realizing all of that opportunity, it just drove me.
Yeah.
I'm a person that will never just stop, right? I never stay comfortable.
Yeah.
So I'm all right, the mountain isn't stopping. All right, I might have hit a false peak. That was cool for a minute, but let's keep going. And the opportunities haven't stopped, so I won't either. Mm-hmm. And so it's all right, I'm not turning back.
I think it's very interesting too that the two of you are very similar in that way. And so you talked a little bit about the partnership with Best Dirty Lemonade, Netta's partnership. Can you speak more to that and kind of like how your relationship started with Omari?
Oh my goodness. Yeah. I mean, I know that Sam Schwartz and a bunch of people were doing some stuff down in Omari's area, neck of the woods.
Yeah.
And said, let's bring Omari up to Massachusetts. Let's bring him into that legal space. Then next thing you know, I see Omari in Massachusetts. We're sitting around a table. We're all testing out lemonade. We're seeing how we can bring it in the market. You know, we went a few rounds about how it should happen and play out, and both of us had to, you know, put our egos at that door real quick and and find ways to make it work. But I, honestly, like, here we are, about almost 3 years now?
For sure. This is
2 flavors going on 3, so 3 years,
yeah,
3
for
years,
sure.
something like that. Ooh, maybe that's some marketing right there.
Yeah,
but,
really.
No, it's been awesome, and it's one of the brands I really love putting out into the market because it has the message, like the stuff with like how you came about in the industry and how and why you have your product, and also the fact that it's good, it's consistent, it's quality, and now we're just going to keep expanding its ability to go onto the shelves, like. It's exactly what I want in that type of partnership. And so,
cool.
and for us, like, New England Treatment Access is in our name. So, like, to be able to provide a less cost prohibitive structure to enter the mass market, which has a huge financial burden to enter, like, why would I not give that people the opportunity, right? Like, just because we had to do that first and we have, like, all of this space and opportunity for other people, like, why would I not open that door for people to have that as well?
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
You gotta stay true to why we started, right?
Yeah.
Even though the industry's changed and our business models changed, like, those foundations are still why we're here. So, like, why would we not continue to build that? And building that with Omari has been pretty awesome, man.
For sure. Can you speak to it too, your relationship with Netta?
Yeah, my relationship with Netta started in New Orleans, like you mentioned. And, you know, it's almost like happenstance. So we, shout out to Precious. I always say we've won this competition, right? We did not. We came in second place in New Orleans, but we got to meet Sam Schwartz and other executives from Netta who took a chance on us. So in my mind, that's more than a win. And then, you know, we saw Sam again when you guys started sponsoring the BCB Mastermind program.
Love that program.
And then we really took the opportunity by the horn and we said, you know what, if we're going to figure this out, we need to figure out our formulation and how to go from legacy to legal and business structure. So, I mean, the partnership with Netta has been instrumental in moving us from, you know, a peddler to a real business.
So, you know, you guys have built some history, and I feel like even though it's 3 years, that's significant, right? Especially in the cannabis industry.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Sure.
So, like, you know, we're talking about the state of the industry, like, in the culture that's behind the business. What does the future actually look like? What do you think?
Oh, man, if I had a crystal ball and I was right, I'd be rich, but
Right.
I wouldn't be, no. Honestly, in Massachusetts, I think we still are struggling, right? Like, we've been a market for 9 years, but we still got a long way to go, right? Like, you look at places like California and Colorado, you look out west, like, they're still struggling in some areas that, like, we're just experiencing here, right? Like, everyone's had the AR issues, everyone's had the oversaturation, everyone's had the price compression, but I think the regulations, how we partner with our government agencies and bodies is different state to state, so how that looks in Massachusetts and moving forward, I'm not too sure. I think right now it's a lot of people realizing, like, who you can work with and who you can trust. I think earning that trust and loyalty right now is really important in our market. So, and you're seeing that, right? Like, there's been a lot of closures, unfortunately, recently, and, like, a lot of different company buyouts and mergers. And so people are really trying hard in this market. I think we're going to see, unfortunately, a lot more of that right sizing. But the people that have just been honest, transparent, and honestly running lean are the ones I think that are going to make it out as long as they're partnering with the right people.
Yeah. What do you think?
For sure. I don't know that I can speak on what the future looks like in Massachusetts as much as what it looks like nationally.
Or even in Georgia, where we live. So
For sure.
Or even just for Best Dirty Lemonade.
Well, so nationally, I think the industry is going to shake out, and it's once we get federal legalization, right, it's just going to be consolidation, right?
But I feel like that's so far away.
For sure. And selfishly, I hope it's very far away, right? Because
Your side.
Right, and also with the fact that we just don't have these deep pockets, right? We know Anheuser-Busch, we know Pepsi all have brands ready to go, right?
Yeah.
And so I think once we see federal legalization, they just press a button and voila, here's their brand, $2 million in marketing, and now I'm trying to compete with like craft beer, right?
Yeah.
But I do think that once federal legalization happens, we'll see cannabis being sold in other places than just dispensaries. I think that's the key, right? People need to be able to get their cannabis in a pharmacy and charge it to their insurance, right? I think that's revolutionary, right? Or once insurance pays for it, I mean, cool. Put it on my HSA account, right? Health spending account. Right. At the end of the year, I got $5,000 left. Yeah, let's go get some cannabis.
Right.
I think that's like the future of cannabis.
Access, yeah.
I love that. So what do you think that the mainstream cannabis culture gets wrong about the plant and the people who love it?
Mainstream cannabis culture. That we're all stoners and lazy.
Yeah.
Right? Sure, I think that's a common misconception.
For sure.
I try to do a really good job, in my mind, of not blaming the plant when things happen. Right? Like, sometimes you hang out with your friends and be like, oh, I forgot. I smoked a lot. No, let's not blame the plant, right?
Yeah. Like, you just always forgetful. Let's just
regardless. Right, exactly.
Right. So I try not to do that, just to not play into those stereotypes and those misnomers.
No, that's so true. Like, the amount of times you have to, like, prove harder that, like, just because my eyes may be a little glossy does not mean that my mind's not all here. I may be quiet in this moment, but don't think that I'm not listening. I think the motivated stoner is like an anomaly to people. I think they think it's a unicorn, but listen, we were talking about teaching before, right? I was talking to a lot of different ex-teachers out there on the sales floor today. And everyone's joke is like, you gotta find a way to get creative with those lesson plans, right? And I'm like,
exactly.
How else you keeping teachers in that field, right? let them have it. It's legal, right? I think especially, I think also if you look at emergency service, frontline employees, first responders, it may be illegal for them unless they have their medical cards. And like, you have a lot of people out there that in some instances, in some states, they're arresting people for weed, but I know that they're taking it at night to fall asleep.
Exactly.
I know that they're using it for that PTSD.
Exactly.
And I think there's a lot of double standards still out there that people just aren't willing to talk about.
Yes. What's one? What do you think?
I think that one right there. Okay. That like, the police can't smoke weed.
Right.
Or that your paramedic can't smoke weed. It's like, no, I've smoked a lot of weed with a lot of those people.
Exactly.
But a lot of people are like, oh no, they'll arrest somebody for that. I'm like, will they though?
Yeah. How do you think we combat that though? How do we combat that stereotype?
No, it's just normalizing the plant on a larger scale. Access, having it in the Easy Mart where I'm buying my milk.
Right.
Like I can buy a bong there right now. Yeah. Why can't I buy a joint too?
Yeah.
Like, we're this close.
Exactly.
Some states you can do that. It's obviously, like, more Delta 8 and all that stuff. Which is a completely different conversation.
Yeah, exactly. So, how do we make cannabis more than a product, right? Like, how do we make it a movement or a lifestyle or a community touch point?
I think we're doing that, right? I think, there are cannabis-centered movies, right? That just plays into the culture, right? There's cannabis music, right? There's inside cannabis jokes, right? That only you would get if you were a stoner, right? So I think the culture just derives naturally, right? Because I think once you start to like create a culture, it feels very forced. It doesn't feel authentic. That's also what we see in a lot of these markets, right?
But I think too, right? Like I'm thinking about, all right, how do you normalize that? How do you build that community? Well, it's hard to build community when, like, the regulations around marketing prohibit your ability to reach those people. Like, okay, yeah, you have culture, but, like, how can anyone find out about your culture, right? Like, unless you know somebody who knows somebody, right? You get brought into that, right? Weed circle, right? You're confident enough to say, ooh, I think that person's smoking. Maybe I can ask for a hit.
Yeah.
Like, it gets that weird.
Yeah, that's true.
How do you find it if we can't really be on Instagram and Facebook unless without getting shut down and constantly rebuilding that? When in Massachusetts, we have to make sure everything's 21 plus marketed. It's like, okay, we have ways to go about that, but I can't go sponsor, my hometown's kids basketball team, right? They can't have Netta across their shirt.
Right.
But, like, that doesn't mean that I don't want to support those areas of my business and of my community where I know that those parents be struggling out there and they're probably in their she sheds out there huffing and puffing.
Exactly.
but they're also not able to normalize it because there's no marketing that can be out there in a normal setting. So I think we got to get over that regulatory hump first and let it be just like beer.
That's a really good point.
And I think one of the issues also is consumption, right? Which goes back to the regulation, right? I think we have to find a way to normalize consumption in large settings, right? If people could and I always say this, right? If I can see these lawmakers walking around with a flask of whiskey or whatever, right? A lawmaker, if they so choose, should be able to go outside and smoke a pre-roll where their colleagues are smoking cigarettes.
Facts.
Right, yeah.
I think that's okay.
You know what's funny? Like, I struggle sometimes. I'm getting over it, and I try to empower myself, right? But I struggle sometimes to walk into somewhere smelling like weed, right? And I, will overthink it. You know what I'm saying? And obviously, I know if you get close enough, you're going to smell me, but it's this thing that's in my head. And sometimes I wonder, I'm like, why do I care so much? So there are some times where I'm like, I don't care. Like, I'm going to just do it. And it's, casual shit. Like, I'm going into the store. But that's like a struggle of mine.
No, I get that. Go ahead.
I went into the State House the other day in Georgia, right? And I smelled like weed. And when I walked by the cops, he's like, man, you smell like weed. And I was like,
and?
Right?
Yeah.
Like there's actually a bill in the State House in Georgia right now that's establishing that smelling like weed doesn't meet the necessary PC or probable cause to arrest you or detain you or anything, right? And so hopefully that passes because, there's no reason for you to want to ruin somebody's life because you think, they smell like weed and now you want to search them. Come on, man.
Right.
We have real crimes to be fighting here.
Right.
That's a whole other story for another podcast.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. You just said that. I'm like, damn, there's definitely some coats I put away that smelled like a hot box.
Yeah.
And I put them on the next day and if I were to be walking around and that's going to get me stopped, are you for real?
Yeah.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
Senseless.
That's a real thing,
Senseless.
Yeah. And it's something that you internalize and just overthink. And then it's But I think that those are those steps to just normalizing the whole culture, right? Or inviting people into the culture. Because if I'm meeting somebody who smells like weed, cool, now we're I feel like I could trust you a little bit more, or now I want to make conversation, You're not
going to knock on me or word.
Exactly. So getting into your relationship with the plant, if your relationship with cannabis was a song, what would the title be? And who might be on the track? Could just be you, but who would be on the track?
Who would be on the track?
And what would the title be? And who would be on the track?
What would the title?
So I really like dramatic songs, right?
Okay. Dramatic like what? What do you mean?
I think I played my favorite song for you yesterday, right? It was a Wayne Wade song. It's a reggae song, but it's called I Love You Too Much to Ever Start Liking You, right? And it's pretty much about this guy telling this girl he has to stop coming by because he would just drop by, right? Then he started hearing laughter from her door. He stopped bringing her flowers because she was seeing somebody else. So it's just dramatic.
It's a story.
For sure. I think my song would be Never Stop Loving You, right? That's the title. And it's a ballad with Whitney Houston, or some strong, powerful.
You are so sweet. I love that.
Because I think that's the passion that I have.
That is very much
cannabis.
Yeah, that's
yeah, and although there are times in my life where I smoke more or I consume more than other times, the love is never gone.
Wow, that's really
damn. I'm supposed to follow. I'm it's Whitney. Wow,
that was great.
That was so cute. I love that.
Yeah, that was good.
Was that Leo when you?
It was that wasn't dramatic. That was very Leo. That was very
shoot.
What's your sign, Mimi?
Taurus.
Are you a Taurus? Makes sense.
I like to
your birthday's coming up. When's your birthday?
April 29th.
Oh, okay.
9 days after 420. Do you take a vacation for your birthday?
I always take my birthday off, but we actually are going to Phoenix the week before.
The week before? You're not going to be around for 420?
No. In wholesale land, 420 is
it's too late.
Everything's already done at that point.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas and everyone's off, or they're helping out their retail stores. So it's we got our teams helping out the retail stores. But
enjoy your 420.
I'm gonna take the sunshine while I can.
Enjoy that.
Are you a betting woman?
A what?
Are you a betting woman?
On sports maybe.
So every 420, right? POS systems go down. Do you think it happens this year, or do you think? We figured it out.
Who it is, I don't know, because there were people that said Dutchie, but Dutchie worked just fine for me last year, so I don't know.
Really? So many retailers were complaining last year.
I mean, every year there's always something though. Like everyone's gonna complain. Why did my store not perform on 420? It's like, okay, go ahead and point a finger. No one's willing to look within.
They weren't carrying the lemonade. That's really the
issue. That was the issue. If you don't have lemonade on your shelves, your 420 ain't gonna be
okay.
That popular.
People were looking on the menu like, no, I don't want to.
That's it. Yeah, you don't even carry the right stuff.
Yeah. All right. Song though.
Back to your song. Yeah. So I need a title and who would be on the track.
Who would be on the track?
Yep.
All right. I think on the track I would put Haley Williams because she's the musician and artist that got me to be a confident person to even be like sitting in a chair like this, speaking like this.
Haley Williams. Can I look this up?
Go ahead. She's the singer for Paramore.
Okay.
They're a rock band and. I didn't play music in front of anyone until I first learned of them on like MTV after school one day type stuff. And I was like, oh, women can be in rock bands?
So we're talking high school or middle school?
We're talking like middle school.
Okay.
I was quiet.
Which, by the way, we didn't even say that you're in a band.
I'm still a musician. And, you know, Cornell here dropping shit. But no, I'm a musician. I'm a multi-musician, drums, saxophone, guitar, vocals. Still playing music. It's more of a hobby than
cool as fuck,
but no. But Haley Williams is I attribute a lot of my confidence to her, and I'd say, yeah, you know what? Let's make the title confidence. Like have some confidence, because I think that's what I had to learn in this role and trust myself and trust my gut, trust my business mindset, and the people around me, and have that confidence to stand up for what I know is the right decisions and the right people.
How does cannabis play a part in your confidence?
I can be who I am, right? I think in so many other jobs. I wasn't able to be wearing my Jordans to work. I wasn't able to be showing my tattoos. Yeah. I wasn't able to say, I get high before coming here. Yeah. You know, and I wasn't even openly out in any of my previous jobs as a gay woman. And so it was the first place that I showed up and I said, yep, my name is Mimi. You don't have to call me Michelle. We don't have to go through all this like formal stuff. It's just, here I am. I can be my authentic self. And like when you can just be you, it makes everything else in life just so much smoother. Yeah. And I think the cannabis community and culture really breeds that and welcomes that, right? Like, weirdly happy cannabis, right? Like, it's okay to be weird.
Yeah, that's really good. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
That's a great answer.
So, okay, so we do this question. It's similar. Omari's got this question a couple times. So I'm going to start with you, and then if you have one, then you can say. But if you could spark up with any historical figure, dead or alive, who would it be, and what would you talk about?
Dead or alive. There's so many. Who would I want to spark up with?
Yeah.
All right. Do they have to like knowingly smoke, or
no? You can just like go. Yeah. Right. We hope that they smoke. Omari's last one was Barack Obama.
Honestly, Michelle for me. Oh. I love Michelle. She's a baddie.
Yeah. She is.
But. Ooh, I'd probably try to go like Lisa Leslie, WNBA star. I don't know if anyone remembers her.
Oh, sure. Yes. Sure. Did you watch the Rivals?
I downloaded HBO just to watch.
How good was it, right? It made me like cardio. Man, I think I might, like, it makes me not even want to watch the W at this point.
Yo, listen.
It was that good?
What? Yes.
And it's over already, though.
Yeah, they just won the championship. It was so good. Like, I mean, part of it is that it's founded by players in the W, right? And then also, too, it's like most of the players they contribute in some way. I think they're like shareholders.
Yeah, they all have like equity.
And then also, too, like when they win, they get so much money, and then their team does, and then their staff. Like, it's just really
making more money in this off-season league than they are in the W.
So, hold on. I don't understand, though. How is everybody, like, embracing this when the big three is struggling, right? Like, they can't get TV contracts, and I guess you guys don't have the answers to all the roles.
No, I don't know, but
I think like women's sports, especially, I think Caitlin Clark had a huge point in it last year to like really help ramp all of that. And then now people have finally started to invest, and now people saw the success of like what happens when people believe in that mission on the ground. And when they actually are following that momentum in their industry, and they saw like, oh, people like women's sports. Okay, hey, how do we keep the U.S. players in the United States and not going over to Russia and going over to overseas in these leagues? Like, how do we build it here?
For sure.
And
Brittany Griner's story was a huge part of that too. Like they didn't want anybody else to go through that shit. Like that was crazy, so traumatic.
And they got everything,
but it's traumatic.
Like I mean, in this league, they're getting facials. They have nursery daycares. They have their perfect weight rooms. Like they have everything.
Sephora sponsors. They can do their makeup before, because a lot of players wear makeup before they play.
That's amazing.
Yes,
they did.
But this is stuff that like women's sports has not seen ever, right?
Hopefully they get like this XFL type deal where like the NFL then picks up a lot of these practices, right?
For sure.
Hopefully the W says, you know what, these are things that we need to implement as well.
Listen, the women did a one-on-one, and the whole feedback that came from that was, oh, the men can never even do this. Like, there's no way that
they did a one-on-one tournament, like a bracket one-on-one, and I mean they were going at it.
Savage.
It was Nafisa Collier, who's one of the founders.
Now hold on. Is this really fair? Because Asia Wilson doesn't play, right?
But she chose not to.
Right.
Yeah.
But she's the perennial league MVP.
This is no shade. Do you watch the WNBA?
No,
this is not even shade.
Now we on camera. Now I gotta lie. I gotta say it. Nah, I don't watch the WNBA.
So then you're
not because I don't believe in it. Yeah. I was busy. So
no. And it's not easy to access. Yeah, and it's not.
And it's not. When you're at, right, to bring it back to the question of like, who would I pick? Like, I'm picking Lisa Leslie because I'm like, hey, you were at the beginning of that shit. Like, I remember when there was Springfield Spirit, and that's not even a team out in the league anymore. When it's WBL, and like, she's seen it through all of those phases of life, and like, you can have so many ties to like, okay, how do I take what she's learned and then take that into my industry and say, all right, there's going to be some type of semblance of growth that's similar there that I can latch onto that wisdom. Yep. But also like tie into the fact that like I'm also a lady that loves women's sports. For sure. And, like, let's amplify those voices.
For sure.
So let me ask you right now, in the women's college basketball, right? Who's the best player?
I mean, Paige, because I'm a UConn fan.
Ooh,
listen, this is me saying because I'm a UConn fan till I die.
Yeah, that's right. That's fair.
Okay.
But I mean, you as a sophomore and where her level's at, like insane. Think about if Paige didn't have all those seasons with injury. Yeah. What she could have looked like in those younger years, and people would have been having, I think, the same conversation that they're having about you.
For sure.
And like,
I think we wanted to. Everybody wanted to. And we were parents who had that conversation. Like, we were talking about Paige before we were talking about Caitlin Clark.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Like, but then she just, her journey was just different, right? And it got derailed a little bit. But, like, it's still very clear she is one of the best players, like, in the country. For sure.
Confidence right there.
For sure.
What it came down to.
For sure. I love her. All right. I have one more question, and then we're going to get into a quick game. If you had a weed-related superpower, what would it be? And bonus, if you have a superhero name.
Yo, give me an example. What the hell's a weed superpower?
I don't know.
I don't know the strain type.
What would be a good one?
Yeah. Maybe it's not really a superpower, but you know how Batman has like the utility belt?
Okay. Where are you going with this?
I have a utility jar.
With everything you need. Break it down.
No. All this jar has is a never-ending supply of
lemonade.
But what do you do? But what do you do? Like different strains for different things. You're saying a utility belt, right? Meaning like it's a tool for whatever comes up.
Let me tell you, this is my superpower and my idea, right?
Okay.
But it's a nice stash jar, and then every time I open, the perfect nug arrives. It's always there. Okay. It's the nug that it knows I need.
Okay.
Right?
You're like a magician out there, just like
boy. I don't have a name. But if I could figure this out, I mean, I'd be rich.
Yeah, I understand.
Damn, honestly, probably just being able to, blink and have a joint appear, ready, like perfectly rolled, ready to go.
Perfectly rolled.
Do you roll?
I was gonna. You see these hands? Hell no, I ain't got those fine motor skills.
So what do you do?
I buy pre-rolls, which is why I've always.
You don't stuff cones?
No, I don't have to.
No, and honestly. I make sure that with the Float brand, we're always grinding our joint from bud, right? Like, I don't want the floor trim, so, all right, they're already grinding to a quality that I know I'm going to enjoy, so why am I going to do that with myself?
Smart.
And, like, especially because I've seen me roll. It's not cute. I've seen how long it takes for me to stuff a cone. It ain't cute.
Yeah.
Like, I just want to, if I want to smoke, I want to be able to, boop.
Yeah.
Done. All right, so now what's your favorite strain, though?
Currently I have a few, but one of them is by a black grower out of LA.
Okay.
So his name is Chris Ball. His company is called Ball Family Farms. And he makes, so all of his strains have black names, right? So he has a Show Nuff, a Nino Brown, a Miss Parker, so the Ace Boogie, right? So they're all really cool pop culture references. They've been good, real good. But this Selena, it's different. It's like real different. So that's one of my favorites right now. And then something else I like is by another black grower I know named Jesse Horton or Loud, and they did the deal with Carmelo Anthony.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a Georgia apple pie.
Okay, so now he's tying into the home base.
For sure.
Okay,
he's
sure. He's a little on this one.
For sure. Yeah. But I mean, it's quality bud. It's smoking taste is amazing. Yeah.
Got winter profile.
Absolutely.
Or more Scott? Where would you put them?
So I would say that neither one are sweet candy buds, right? It's not that. I would say it's a little bit more gassy. I just really like them. Yeah.
I'll take your word on
it. Those are my two favorite right now. But when I'm here, I only smoke. Well, not only smoke, but I only buy that blueberry mojito.
The blueberry mojito is nice. It's a staple. One of these days, I'm gonna have to trade it out of that grow, and everyone's gonna get sad about it.
Boom.
That's what I'm saying. Go try that pine zap I was talking about.
Pine zap.
Let me get you on that new.
How can we let people know what I don't know. I'm very high right now. But I
eliminate
for sure. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited about this pine zap. And we'll get some tomorrow.
Yes.
Cool. All right, y'all. So we're gonna play a quick game.
Okay.
You might have seen it on everything.
No
Yeah. This is great. I'm actually excited to see. I wish I didn't know the answer because I would want to play too. So it's actually like a guess that phrase, right? So I'm gonna give you this acronym and you have to guess it, right? I will give you hints if you need it as you go.
Are you gonna write it down?
I already did.
Okay, cool.
But it's related. It's something that cannabis users would say.
Okay.
That's all I'm gonna say. I'm gonna keep it very vague.
Donor phrases.
Donor phrases.
Good.
Could be questions, could be things, but it's things that consumers would say.
Okay. All right.
So here it is. I wrote it out for you.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You already know?
Yeah.
Easy.
Should we say it on the count of 3?
Go ahead.
1, 2, 3.
Pass me the lighter.
That's crazy.
Let's go.
Y'all are quick. Okay, I got another one for you. This one. I'm not even going to really give y'all a hint here, unless you need it.
Let's go for a walk.
Okay, Mimi.
Sorry.
Point for Mimi.
Boy, nah.
Point for Mimi.
That's definitely Thanksgiving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Are you ready?
Unless you're drinking lemonade.
Ooh. This one's mad hard.
Let me know if you need a hint.
You want to phone a friend on this one? You need a hint?
DWRT.
Mm-hmm.
Roll that.
Yeah, the RT is really grabbing me. Nader.
It's a question.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And when someone poses the question, either it's a compliment or an insult.
Did blah, blah, blah roll that? Did...
You're close.
Yeah. That W, not a Y.
Dude, who rolled that?
Damn, who rolled that?
Yeah.
Damn, who rolled that? Wow.
Yeah, who rolled this? Yeah.
That's really like...
That was hard.
Who else gonna be there?
Yes, it is.
It's shade. It's shade.
And it could be a compliment, though. It could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
It depends on that damn.
Yeah.
It does. It depends.
It all hinges on that damn.
Mm-hmm.
All right, here's our last one, okay? The longer one.
Oh, God.
You ready?
I got the munchies like a motherfucker.
Yeah, you had that quick.
That was good. Y'all kind of tied. Y'all tied this.
No, you skipped one though. Let's see. There was one that you skipped.
No, I wrote it sloppily.
Oh,
so
okay,
it wasn't.
okay.
I started it and then
I was like, damn, there's more.
But I didn't know y'all were going to be so quick. I would have had so many more.
Well, listen, now you gotta be talking about munchies.
Amy,
Well, thank you guys. I always love vibing with the best of lemonade.
Yeah, this was great.
Hell
I
yeah.
appreciate you coming by, being open, and talking about your story and what got you here. So
Hell yeah. I'm excited to bring the blue raspberry out here in a month.
okay,
Let's go. Come on.
yeah.
Third flavor.
That's it.
Third flavor. Let's
Let's round
go.
it out.
Yeah.
All right.
Cool.
Like it.
Hell yeah. Cheers.